Welcome to the Magazine Layout Lab. So we worked on text the last time. This time we're going to take it to the next level. We're going to use some images. You'll find those images in the files on Google Drive. So I still have all of my text. I still have all of my styles and everything. I have my parent pages and all of those things. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try to design this. So before I change any fonts or anything like that, I am going to start looking at some of my images. So I am going to do a Command D for place. I'm going to look at my files to see what I've got there. Let's see. Takes me a second here. You may or may not be able to see what I'm doing. Sometimes Zoom doesn't show everything that's going on my computer for some reason. So I am just going to take a little bit of a look. And just a little pro tip here, if you're doing placing and you've got your dialog box that shows where all of your files are, you can select the file and hit the space bar, and it's going to give you a nice size preview. And then you can scroll down or up or whatever with your up and down keys. So I am going to look at all of these and decide what I'm going to use for the front page of my magazine article. And I've decided I'm going to use the robot. Now, I know these guys are really small, and so I'm hoping that you won't mind using them because um, getting really big images sometimes are a little difficult. Let's see. I'm going to just hold down the shift key and the command key, and I'm going to make this guy a little bit bigger. Now, you wouldn't want to do this in real life with this bad of an image, but here we are doing it. All right. So I am going to expand my bounding box so that it's larger than the page, because I want to fill that with a color so that I can make the photograph look a little bigger than it really is. So I've got my page selected, and I'm going to use the dropper, and I'm going to pick a color here. I think I'm going to go somewhere in that vicinity. And I need to change it. I had the wrong thing in the front. I should have had my fill at the front, but I managed to flip that and get that fixed. Okay, so to make this image look more integrated into that space, I am going to use a special effect. So I'm going to go up to special effects. I'm going to go all the way down to basic feather because I want it to be feathered on all sides. So you can see as I make it more feathered, it goes farther into the photograph. So I've got almost a whole inch, pretty close. I'm going to say that's all right. So now we've got a nice image. I'm going to take that image and I'm going to place it to the back. You can either go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, or you can have it selected and do Shift, Command, and left bracket. So this should be on the top, but quite honestly, it is so dark you can't see it. So I'm going to make it white. It was all kind of blending together. Okay, so now you can see both of those. So let's just move these back over and put that in the right space. Okay. So now I'm just going to use the text here. So let's play around with this. I have looked around to different things that I think looked AI generated, and I think this font right here looks pretty generated by AI. Okay, I'm going to make this really big. I'm going to start out with 72 and make this 72 also, and that does not really do it for me. Okay, so now that's not bad. Now that's a little bit on the funny side. I think I'm going to go up just a little bit. I'm going to click and make this bigger. And now I'm going to make my space in between a whole lot bigger. I'm going to say 86 points. I'm going to move this down a little bit and kind of focus on the robot's head because I've got a little shape starting to form over here. I'm going to make that a bigger letting just so that the face is right there in this. So his head is right in that space. Going to close that up a little bit. And you notice we've got our little red dot here. So I am going to take that and just put the text right here. Okay. So there's my front cover. Kind of quick, but it's kind of eye-catching. Okay, so we've got this all pretty worked out as far as the text, but honestly, we need some images in there to make it just make a little more sense. So I am going to add a few images, and I think I'm going to start by having this come down here, and I'm going to I want to put this at the very top. I'm going to move this down, and I'm going to hit the W again so that I can kind of see where everything is. I'm going to have that. I'm going to have a guide. Remember, if we have our guides, let me see if I can get it to move again. If we have our guides started out in the pasteboard, around the page, it will go across both pages. So I'm going to just, with my arrow keys, make that right on top of that line. Okay, so I am gonna, and I have a problem up here. But let's see, I'm gonna make room for a photograph, so not gonna have that problem anymore. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I'm only gonna have it over 2 columns. And I think I am gonna put something over here to balance that so that it's kind of opposing. Okay. And now we don't have any text boxes on the fourth and fifth page, so I'm just going to go ahead and move those so I don't accidentally somehow lose it. So we have some there, and remember we click the box and we go to the top of the next column, and that's all of our text. Okay, so now I'm going to find some images to go here. I am going to place Command D, and I'm going to find an image that I like over here. I am going to use this one with these 2 robotic images. I'm going to hold my shift and my command, and I'm going to make this large enough to fill the space. Then I'm going to drag my bounding box to right here. And I might need to make this just a little bigger so that you don't see that face. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy because I want to finish, I want to put the other side of the page, the other side of the image on this. So I'm going to grab my my actual photograph here, or my illustration, and I'm going to slide it over and center right there. So now I've got this So now we have these two creatures, these two images, illustrations, looking into the middle of the page. So that's going to guide the eye onto the top of onto the page, and it's going to keep it in the center. So it's good to not ever have something that is going off the page because your eye will follow it off the page. Okay, so now I've got that finished. And I am going to clean this up just a little bit here. Make these go a little more evenly and make sure I don't have any widows or orphans, and I don't. All right. So now I need to figure out what I want to do with this. So I could do one really large image. And I think I'll use this one. I'm just going to, it's not a very big image. I wish I had better images. I'm going to leave it at the bottom right there, and I'm going to get it all the way up to that column right there. So now I am going to see if I've got anything else that I can put. I'm going to use this image. Oh, I just did something that is kind of the bane of graphic artists' um, existence. I clicked I placed something while I still had an image selected. So if you do that, you can say undo, and now you're back to where you were. So now I've got that image that I had placed there originally, and I've got my other image. So I am going to place this up here and decide where I want to put that one. I'm going to pull this down and then pull this one down. And now I've got some more text that I can put right here. I am going to move this to this location and this one to this location. And I'm going to move that to join its little compadre up there. Okay. And I'm going to use this image and see how it fits. So I'm going to put it right here. Not liking that as much as I should. So I think I'm going to grab these two and move it over. And make this larger. Okay. I think I'm going to move that up a little and that up a little bit. Okay. I think I like that pretty good. So what I want you to do is I want you to play around with this and get it to the point where you're satisfied with the layout. And then I want you to save it in a certain way. So right now, this is pretty simple. I want you to place in the photograph, some of the photographs and get a kind of a balance, a design going. But the thing I want you to do to turn in is I want you to use um, this little package feature. It's underneath File, almost at the bottom. You go to it, you click it, and you get a dialog box. And this tells you all about your file. So it's basically a laundry list. 3 fonts used, 0 missing. Very good. Links and images. And we've got a little caution sign on that, only because they're using color space, an RGB color space. But as long as they're not modified or missing, then you're in good shape. So all of this is good. So I am going to package it. I'm going to click package, and now it's telling me that I need to save it. So I'm going to save this document, and I'm just going to save it right here. Package, replace. So it doesn't like the fact that I have this name. I'm going to name it Janice. How about that? It's not liking, it doesn't like to save over things in this particular it doesn't like to save over things whenever you're using the package folder. So I've renamed it. And now all of that was saving it. It may take longer on your computer. So let me see if I can share something else. I want to share my desktop. Me make that go away and see if my desktop is shared. Hmm. Okay, I have a lot of stuff on my desktop, so let me see if I can get some of this stuff out of the way. All right, so I'm going to go to my desktop. And we should have a folder that says magazine_Janice. So let's open that up and look at it. And let me make sure I'm sharing. Yep, it looks like I'm sharing. Sorry, I keep checking that, but I just don't want this to not be there. So what we have inside of our folder is a file that says document fonts. You open it up and you can see the fonts were saved with this particular job. Then we've got our links that we used. It didn't use all of the links that I put on the in the possibility for you to use. It just chose the ones that I used. So now I have an IDML. That's hard for me to say. That file format is for opening it with older versions of InDesign. Let's say that you send your InDesign file to somebody who hasn't updated their InDesign files or their InDesign app for maybe the last year, and they would not be able to open your INDD because that one is the most updated version. So your IDML, they would be able to open that because it's kind of like downsaved. Okay. And also we have a PDF that's there. So you have everything you could possibly need. So let me close that. Now, what I want you to do is to select your magazine_your name, and then I either want you to right click or control click. And it says compress magazine. So click that, and it gives you a file almost automatically that's got a little zipper on it. That is the file I want you to upload to Canvas. Okay, well, if you have any questions, just let me know and I'll help you with it. All right, see you next time.